Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to talk about jobs and how you can find one in Ireland. For the past year, central banks across the US, UK and the European Union have increased interest rates to tackle the ongoing inflation crisis. As a result, many companies, especially in the tech industry, have implemented hiring freezes and layoffs. And it seems like these layoffs will continue well into next year. I know such a situation might look scary and discouraging for upcoming graduates, but trust me, with a positive attitude and patience, you will eventually find the right job that's for you. I'm going to share a bit about my personal experience and how I found a job in Ireland as a graduate before. I have divided this video into 7 chapters, which you can navigate to in the description box below. So feel free to skip to the parts that are most relevant to you. However, I do hope you watch the whole video. Before I start, I just want to give you a bit of background about myself. I graduated from UCD Smurfit Business School in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic. I did my master's degree in management consultancy, but I failed to get a consulting job when I graduated, as many of the consulting firms had a hiring freeze that time. However, as I studied accounting in my undergraduate, I focused on getting an audit trainee job in an accounting firm, and I have been working for 3 years since then. I can make a video of how to find a job as an experienced professional in Ireland if you are interested. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, now let's just get this video started. First and foremost, you should figure out what are your career goals. You can start with a self-assessment, such as reflecting on your interests, values, and passions. Think about what matters most to you in your job. What are you naturally good at, and where do you need improvement? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? Think about your long-term and short-term goals. After that, you could do some research, such as exploring various career options. You can also look into different industries, professions, and roles that align with your interests and skills. And look at the experience and path of people in those careers on Reddit, YouTube, or other social media. Also, please consider job market trends and the growth opportunities in different fields, as it will make climbing up the ladder easier in your career path later. Once you have identified your career goals, this will give you a concrete direction towards what type of job you would like to do. You can then start your job search. If you don't have a target company that you would like to apply for, there is a website I recommend you to use to find graduate jobs. It is the Grads Ireland website. It has all the latest graduate jobs, graduate programs, and internships. It also provides advice and events for those early in their career. It is a very informative website which covers all backgrounds and sectors. I strongly recommend you to go check it out yourself, and maybe you can get an idea about what companies have graduate program you like. But if you are like me, knowing exactly what kind of job and the companies you would like to work with, then you can directly go to that company's website and find their graduate program. For example, in the case of Deloitte, a global professional services firm, they have a career section on their website. Within it, you will find their graduate program. Many companies have a similar graduate website. Once have found their graduate program page, you can see a number of materials around their graduate program. You will get a sense of things like the company's application process, learning and development opportunities, and what kind of work you would be doing. It's good to browse this information before you actually make the application to help you determine if the company is the right fit for you. As you can see here now, Deloitte only has its Northern Ireland audit and tax program open now, so I think their program for the Republic of Ireland has already closed. When applying for a graduate program, it's important to note the key deadlines for each program you would like to apply for. Companies usually begin to advertise their graduate program a year before the job is due to start. For example, companies generally started hiring around September or early October in 2023 for their 2024 graduate roles. Many big companies will close their application portal around late October or November. So if you missed the deadline this year, don't worry. Some company will reopen the graduate portal next year, around January to March after the Christmas break, as they might not have been able to hire enough candidates in their first round. Also, there are some companies whose graduate program are open all year round. Once you have some companies in mind that you wish to apply for, you should start to prepare a good resume. If you are still in university, book an appointment with your career services team and they will guide you through the whole process. However, I am also here to give you some tips in preparing your CV. I know people's preferences for CV style differ, but I will share you a format that I have been using since I came to Ireland and was recommended by my graduate school UCD Smurfit. Their career advisor at that time suggested that this CV format is one of the most commonly used in Ireland. Okay, let's have a look at the CV template I made. I'll also share this template in the description below. Before I take you through the detail, the font I'm using is Georgia. You can also choose another font if you like, but I recommend you to use a serial font like Georgia for a professional look. Other serial fonts like Times New Roman, Garamond, and Cambria are also quite popular. As you can see from the screen, you can start with your full name, mobile and email information, as well as your LinkedIn website link. And if you are like me, have a personal website, you can also put that link here. The first section of your CV should be profile. This is also known as a resume summary, which should give the recruiter an overview of your highlights, achievements, skills, experience, and maybe your career goals. You should also use this section as a good way to attract the recruiter's attention. I recommend you to keep the paragraph to 3 to 4 lines in this section. Now, the next section is education. You should list your education from the highest degree to the undergraduate degree, and from the latest one to the oldest one. And if you did your high school in Ireland, you should also include your high school information under this section. Now, the first line should be your degree plus course or major title, and then you should have your study period listed here as well. And then you should put your school name, school location using the format city, country here. Also, your grade achieved should be listed here, either be first class honor or 2.2 or 2.1. And then underneath it, you should write down any achievement or awards you had during this study period, or if you were elected as a class ambassador. And then for the career experience, similarly, you should list your experience from the latest to the oldest one. And then the first line should be job title and your company's name. And then you should list your work period here as well. And then underneath the job title, you should write which department you are working or worked under, or if the company is a not very well-known company, you should write 1 or 2 sentences here to briefly explain what your company do. Now, for the job description, you should use bullet point to describe your key responsibilities and duties in each role. Remember to be specific and use strong action verbs to showcase your achievements. You should also focus on tasks and accomplishments that are relevant to the job you are applying for. And then try your best to make maximum 1 line per bullet point while be clear on the description, as HR might not, have enough time for each candidate's CV. And then the last section is other information. You can include your qualification, IT skills, language, voluntary experience, interests, and achievements here if you have any. After you have your CV ready, it's important to set up your LinkedIn profile if you haven't. Now, I'm not a LinkedIn expert and I don't often post on LinkedIn. I just put the things that I have on my CV on my LinkedIn page and use LinkedIn as a way to connect my colleagues and recruiters. However, I would suggest that you use a professional picture as your LinkedIn profile image. Try to avoid using a personal or passport style picture with your head occupying the entire frame. People should at least see your upper body with a clean and neat background. I will show you my profile picture as an example here. After you finish your CV and the LinkedIn profile, you can then start to apply for jobs. One thing to keep in mind is that many companies like candidates to do an online assessment before proceeding to do the interview process. I did my assessment a long time ago, so I couldn't give you much information about it, but there are many materials online available that can help you prepare for this. What I can remember is that I had to complete a number of behavioral-based questions along with some math and logical-based questions. Now, if the recruiter thinks you are a good match for the companies based on your CV and online assessment results, congratulations, you are in the interview process. Regarding the interview process, as I'm an auditor in an accounting firm, I can only share my knowledge limited to the accounting firm in Ireland. For graduate program, many firms tend to have an open day in advance of their interview. The open day is usually in person and you will get to know the company and the different departments on that day. You have an opportunity to chat with the people who work in the company and learn about their day-to-day life and get a sense about the company's culture as well. After the open day, it is time for the interview. Almost all of the accounting firms arrange the interviews in person before COVID, while after COVID, some companies have continued to perform their interviews online. Either way, I think you should dress professionally and speak confidently on your interview day. Remember, interviewing is a mutual process. It's a time for the companies to choose whether you are a good fit for them, but it's also a time for you to choose whether the company is the right fit for you. If you are doing the interview in person, make sure you know how to get to the interview location in advance and arrive early. I think 15 minutes in advance is good to aim for. If you are doing the interview online, make sure your internet connection is reliable. You could potentially use your phone's hotspot as a backup if you think your internet will not be stable during the interview day. But make sure to have this ready. Also, be sure that your background is tidy and neat and that you won't be interrupted in your interview. Check with your properties management company if you live in an apartment for any fire drills, and be sure to let your roommates know that you are interviewing to ensure that you are not disturbed. The interview process usually spans 2 to 3 rounds. For the accounting firms, you will have 1 to 2 interviews with managers first, and then have a final interview with a partner. As for the interview questions, I'm going to share some that I think interviewers are highly likely to ask you in the interview. First is, tell me about yourself. This is a typical CV-based questions, and you have to briefly walk the interviewers through your CV by providing an overview of your educational and professional background and highlighting your qualification for the job. Personally, I think this is an icebreaker and will set the tone for the rest of the interview, which is also a great opportunity to make an impression on the interviewers. You should tailor your response to the job and the company you are interviewing with, and be ready to expand on any perspectives of your background that interviewers might be interested in. Second are the classic 3 why questions, which are commonly asked in accounting firms' interviews. They are why the company, why the position, and why you. If you have prepared well and researched the company and role in sections 2 and 3, you will find these 3 questions fairly easy. But if you skipped sections 2 and 3, please go back and have a look. When an interviewer asks you why the company, they actually just want to know how well you know the company. You can get some inspiration from the company's website. When it comes to why the position, they are testing your understanding of the role you are applying for. You can get some ideas by talking to the people who are working in the position you are applying for, or watching some YouTube videos of professionals who work in those roles. The open day that many firms tend to have is another great source of the information. Then finally is the why you question. Why you is the chance for you to explain to the interviewers why they should choose you. I think it's good to match your personalities or interest to the company you are interviewing with when answering this question. Third are behavior question. This is a very important topic. However, if you have a few stories in mind and familiarize yourself with a STAR or situation, task, action, and result method, you will be well equipped to answer any behavior-based questions. You can also go to Glassdoor, where previous interviewees often post some interview questions that were asked to them previously. At a minimum, I would recommend you to prepare some situation that demonstrate your leadership, communication, and teamwork skills. The list is not exhaustive, however, I do hope my sample questions here could at least give you some guidance. If you have successfully got through the final interview, you will soon receive your offer and the contract. For other trainees, the contract usually tends to be 3 to 3.5 years, depending on the qualification you pursue. If you pursue ACCA, the contract usually should be 3 years, as you only need 3 years to be fully qualified. If you pursue ACA, which I know is more common in Ireland, the contract is usually around 3.5 years, as ACA takes additional experience to be fully qualified. I'm not too sure about the contract length for other graduate jobs, but my boyfriend joined Accenture through their management consultancy graduate program, and they offered him a permanent contract. Also, some of my classmates who joined EY through their graduate program for consulting were offered a permanent contract as well. Another important aspect to consider is if you need a visa. If you are from EU, EEA, or UK, you can skip this and move to the next section. For other countries' citizens, there are a few different types of visas that you can apply for. Don't forget to double-check the Irish immigration website, which I will also put a link to in the description box below, for the latest visa information before you do actually apply to any visa. The first type of visa is Stamp 1G. When you graduate from a government-approved third-level graduate program in Ireland, you can apply to this visa after your graduation. This allows you to look for employment as well as work in Ireland for 12 months after you graduate. If you completed a master's degree program in Ireland, you could receive a Stamp 1G visa within a term of 24 months post-graduation. Second is Stamp 1A. If you are a trainee accountant or trainee auditor in Ireland, you can apply for Stamp 1A visa. Under this visa, you can study your qualification as well as be employed as a trainee accountant in Ireland. Finally, there is the Stamp 1 visa. Under this visa, you also need an employment work permit, which has minimum annual salary requirements along with a number of other criteria. I will put the website link below in the description box for further information. For graduates, it's more likely to receive this permit if your occupation is listed on the Irish government's critical skills occupations list. If this is the case, your minimum annual salary only needs to be €32,000 per year. Otherwise, you will need an annual salary of €64,000, which is not very achievable as a graduate. If you are the spouse or de facto partner of an EU, EEA, or UK citizen, or a critical skills employment permit holder, or a researcher in Ireland on hosting agreements, you can also apply for eligible visas to work in Ireland. You can see the Irish immigration website I put down below in the description box for further information. Okay, I hope my information and experience will help you find your graduate job in Ireland. If you would like to add or correct anything I said, I welcome you to do so by commenting below, as I applied for my graduate program 4 years ago, and I appreciate there might be some new changes in the progress that I am not aware of. Finally, I just want to say it is very challenging to find your first job as a graduate, especially if you are in a new country. However, I also want to encourage you to stay persistent, keep trying, and never give up. It's okay to be rejected, and we can learn from our failure and become a better candidate each time when we got rejected. You never know, maybe you will get your dream job in your next application. Thank you, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I know lots of the information I shared in this video are very high level, so if you would like me to elaborate on any of the section above, please comment below and let me know what do you think about this video. So yeah, thank you again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.